What's up? It's your boy the Canologist. We're back with another episode of Code Study Session, OSRS AFK. Let's go back to your close young coder. Let's focus on the spell of 2 parts. What should handle create user do? Read JSON body with an email field. Call your SQLC query to insert the user passing our context. Return the created user as a JSON HTTP 201. Make sure your JSON keys match the spec. Questions to guide you. Do you have an SQL query like create user? Generated in internal database user SQL.go. Do I? Let's check. Oh yeah, models and users. Okay, so this is where it is. Okay, this answers my question. He created a create user. Okay. ID created at, updated at. Perfect. And then models. User struct. And then dbgo. I mean, in that case, it should work. If this is what I think it is. So I don't need to create anything new. By passing your handler's HTTP request context to the query, the library will automatically cancel the updates. I mean, I would have to do this in main Go. Here would be user. Params.email, r.context. So response, db create user. Because here it'd be create user, db create user. Accept a context as your first argument. Okay, so I need to create a user, and then basically by pulling this data back, I then pass it in through all this. That's what I believe to be the case, but we can check after. So this is going to be user. Or I could just copy it. I could just copy this, paste that, params.email, and this would be API CFG. And then .db create user. Add new endpoint post, accepts an email, and creates the user based on said email. What should handler create user do? Read the JSON body with an email field. Call your SQLC query. Read JSON body with an email field. How do you do that? Typically involves extracting JSON value, column name as expected, table. Yeah, there's a users table. Okay, let's get more. Do you have an SQL query, SQLC query, like create user, CTX email generated in internal databases URL go? Yes. Are you decoding the request? This is a response right here. This is the request. Into a struct with an email field. Are you passing our context into the query? Are you mapping the database user.user to a response struct? There's a create user and then create user context email. So we have that. Since I don't know how to do this, guide me step by step. You have the create user in SQLC. Let's wire the handler step by step. I'll ask short checks, you fill in each gap. Decode the request. Okay, so that means I would have to get the request. Create user our context, API config DB. So we have to go to the DB, go to the users.sql, pull that from there. I'm not 100% sure, but what struct do you need to read? JSON like email. That's way too long. Let's just go one step at a time. This is where I am at. Okay, let's fix API config. You have queries and not DB. Should call Oh, queries create user. Okay. Database queries. Okay, so instead of DB, I use this since it is an API config. Where does the params email come from? We need to decode the body first into a struct. Define the local struct and decode the JSON body. Okay, so that's what we do. Okay, so then we'll just go create user params. And then we have to map it to here. So it's going to be email string JSON email. So this is what the structure gets maps to, I guess. It doesn't do anything per se. It just maps. This doesn't do anything yet. Now I have to take this parameter P and feed it to email. P create user param, so get an instance of P, and yeah, decode into P. So put this value into P. So pretty much decode the JSON, take the value of the email, put that in P, which is an instance of the structure. Okay, I can get behind that. But you see, like, they kind of skipped over a lot of this lesson. P.email. So now we go var P create user params. So now we have to decode the body, decode the request body, extract the email, and apply it. So right now I created this structure create params, which takes a JSON email and puts it in email basically. So p.email will spit out the email. P.email will spit out the email. That's wired up correctly. This is JSON body new decoder dot, and then I gotta decode and put it in the address of P. Decode. This pretty much checks if there's an error, and if not, this address for P stores it in the created instance. So that way we don't have, notice how I put user error here, but here it's just error because it already goes directly to the address of P, so I don't need to do that again. It's a weird syntax, but it works. So if there's no error, or if there is an error, if error is not nothing, error is not nil, then we go respond with error. Define a local struct and decode the JSON body. So now we did that. So now we have the type create users param, decodes JSON, puts it in an email. So now I can just access it like this directly as a variable or as a property of this structure. This is an instance of that structure P. Takes that, our body. This should be capital. So now I have the email. Yeah, P email. And then I would technically do this and put user here. And then if there is no error, so there's error, declared and not used. That's from the request. This is just API config queries user error. And then it would be log error. Where do I log errors? I just go log fatal. Because this will get all the timestamps and everything, because it's got the create user in the response. Our context create user. Cannot use database user.user as a byte value in array. Okay. Oh, the genie went to someone else. I thought he was talking to me. Right, let's go back to the instructions real quick. Yeah, it would just be ID, created at, updated at, email. This is the other thing I don't get. Like, how do I just take that and then put this in the byte string? 2 quick fixes, then we'll build the JSON. Your JSON is malformed. Why is it malformed? JSON email string, JSON email. Don't log fatal. In a handler, return a 500 instead. Okay, this would return a server error if that's wrong. Internal server error. I'm just going to take my time. I want to understand what's going on here. Create a user param. And I'll probably have to break this down in my notes as well. I'm going to do a code analysis of this. Because basically I take a struct, create a new user based on the email, create user params, new decoder decode, place the thing in P, instance of this new structure, respond with error, API configs queries, create user our context P email. Is basically from this return successful. Our context create user now goes to the DB API config queries, which goes back to API config. Queries database queries points to the database. Users table points to the database users table, and then it uses the email with create user if not null. And now I have to figure out how to use error. Don't log fatal. Okay, now to send the created user. Yeah. For you guys wondering why it's taking so long, it is very, very important that you understand each step of these server operations, because these CRUD operations are the basis of backend development, which I'm trying to like deeply understand. So I'm taking my time. I don't care if I have to spend an hour, 10 hours, 100 hours, even if it's just for one lesson, because it compounds over time if you do it correctly. Now to send the created user, either return database directly or map the response struct with JSON. First fix the respond with JSON to set JSON application. Okay, so I'll fix that. Application JSON, then respond, status created, HTTP status created, respond with JSON. status created. Oh, and then we just return the user as a whole. Okay. Is that it? You don't have to do a byte string. If your database user lacks the JSON tags, map it. It already has it. Oh, because then you have to create the user struct in this and then map each thing back. So UUID, time, and thing. But the database has this user structure already in there because it's got this. Create user ID, create ID email, models, user struct is in the database already. So models.go. So now I could just return the user as is. And that should work. Try that, run the tests. But yeah, we will continue this in the next video. Stay tuned. Peace.